Welcome to another edition of Wildcat Country, powered by Backcourt Marketing. Eric Cohen and Shane Dale on, I don't know if I'd call this an uneventful week because we've had some happenings, especially with men's basketball, Shane, that we'll get to. We have some fun guests on this week's show. Our buddy Adam Gorney, who is the National Recruiting Director for Rivals and Yahoo Sports, going to join us to talk about the miracle Arizona football recruiting class of 2022 and beyond. And of course, the head coach of what I think, Shane, and we're going to talk about this, don't ruin it with your feelings.
Nope.
Right now, the best team on campus, you can argue, the men's tennis team, Clancy Shields, will join Shane, as Shane had a chance to sit down with him and talk to Coach Shields, find out about men's tennis. That is one of the sports that in the 99 episodes that Shane and I have done of this show, we have never really talked about, right, Shane?
We talked about a little bit. We've never had a guest on the Clancy Shields will be our first men's tennis guest. And so we were able to get him in under the 100 episode wire, just barely, but we're definitely worth talking about. They're having a fantastic year, which I know we'll discuss further.
Let's start with our first segment, which is usually buy or sell. And we're going to stick with that. Buy or sell is presented by our friends at Ice Shaker. Check them out at iceshaker.com. And if you're watching YouTube, Shane and I have our Wildcat Country Ice Shakers. You can buy one of these, and they're really, really cool. You can buy them at iceshaker.com. Just search Wildcat Country. And if you want to get $5 off, use promo code Wildcat Country, capital W, capital C. Trust me, guys, these are legit, and we are very glad to have Ice Shaker as a sponsor of Wildcat Country. Okay. Number one, buy or sell, Shane. It was an interesting week with a couple of defections from Arizona's 21-22 basketball team. Benn, Mathurin, and Christian Koloko are going to the NBA. Is a buy or sell? Arizona's championship window that we saw, at least this season, is closed for now.
Is it really a defection if they go to the NBA? I mean, if they go to another school, I'd see that. But I feel like it's more like a promotion. But
fine.
I know I understand to get into semantics, but I feel like it makes it sound like it's a bad thing. And
it's not a bad thing.
Glad I'm sad that they decided to go. I mean, we knew Mathurin was going to go, but Koloko, we thought maybe he'd stay. And I don't want to qualify your question too much, but are you saying as the roster stands right now, their window's closed?
I'm just saying, I'm going to keep it in general because the roster we know is probably going to evolve, and we'll talk about that more.
Then I'm going to have to sell because we don't know what's going to happen. I think that, and a couple hours ago before we recorded this, we saw that Tommy Lloyd landed another international.
Try that name.
I am not going to try it. I will say his first name looks like Philippe, and I am not going to touch his last name. But he is a.
Borovikinen? Is that we're going to try? We're going to Philip Borovikinen. I think we're going to go with that.
Philip Borovikinen. Okay, we'll go with that for now.
We'll find out how it's pronounced, but he looks pretty good. I mean, he looks 6'8" shooter. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, and he led his team. It's a Division III Serbian team to their the national championship. So 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4.5 assists per game. How quickly will he adapt to the college basketball game in the United States? Who knows? But that's one. And there's going to be others. I think the big question for me at this point, and because we'll get to it, isn't who is Arizona going to add, but will there be any more, as you would say, defections, and specifically Dalen Terry?
I think he stays. From what I've read.
We'll see. Matt Moreno told us last week he thinks 2 of the 3 are gone between Mathurin, Koloko, and Terry, and hopefully he's right, and it's only 2 of the 3. I would say, and I'm taking this a little bit sideways, Eric, but I feel like in a way Koloko's loss is an even bigger deal than Mathurin because Koloko. No. Let me just explain. All right. Take a sip of your drink from your ice shaker, and just take a break. All right. So Koloko was a unique athlete in terms of his abilities to defend, a 7-footer who could defend on the top of the key. Ingrained in my memory is the final seconds of that game against Oregon, where he prevented that last second shot from being taken. How many guys in college basketball can do that? So he was a fantastic defender, blocks, can score, could rebound, could do just about everything. And he grew so much from year 1 to year 2. Mathurin absolutely deserved Pac-12 player of the year, second team All-American. But I think just in terms of a unique skill set, I think Koloko maybe was even a bigger loss than Mathurin, just in that regard is all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's a good argument to make. I just look at you. Ben Mathurin saved Arizona against TCU. I mean,
he did absolutely
single-handedly. I mean,
if Arizona made the Final Four, that shot would have, again, that 3-pointer against TCU would go in as one of the greatest in the history of the program. Since they lost the next game, it's going to be forgotten to a certain extent. But
he made the greatest dunk I've ever seen an Arizona player make.
Yep.
And one of the biggest shots an Arizona player has ever made.
Yep.
I mean, you're right. They're going to be forgotten because of what happened. But I mean, Ben Mathurin, to me, to have a scorer, a guy that could go off for 30 plus, Koloko was great. Losing both of them is hard. And that's why I hate to buy this, Shane. So I'm not buying and I'm not selling. I'm taking the easy way out on this one.
How about this? I will buy it if Arizona doesn't add a transfer, an upperclassman transfer with some NCAA tournament experience who can come in and be an immediate starter.
Okay.
And preferably a guard. I'll just say, as for now, an upperclassman who can come in and be an instant contributor. Like, I'm talking 10 to 15 points a game. If they don't add someone like that, then I will go ahead and buy it. But we got so long to go.
I agree. So it's hard to say this. That's why I'm going to cop out on this one. I know I don't
cop out on your own question. I answered better than you did.
You did. Yes, you did. That's why I had you answer it, not me. Number 2 in buy or sell, a starting lineup of Kirk Risa, Pelle Larsson, Dalen Terry, Azuolas Tubelis, Umar Ballo, as it stands now, is good enough to finish top 3 in the conference next season. Buy or sell?
That's a very good question. I will reluctantly buy for now. But again, that obviously depends on who's added to the team. Even if they're only reserves, Adama Ball's emergence could likely play a key role, especially because I think the one thing Arizona might have been missing last season, other than just the experience, was a consistent elite shooter. And if Ball or Larson can step up and be that guy next season, then yes, I think top 3 is reasonable, though. UCLA, USC, Oregon, maybe Colorado, they could all be better than Arizona if Arizona doesn't improve that starting 5. But if Arizona doesn't add much depth, they could all finish ahead of Arizona. But if they do, which I think they will, and they're already working on it. I think they could. I think they'll finish top. Put it this way, I think they'll finish top 3. If those are the starting 5, I'm right on the fence, but I will reluctantly buy.
Oh, I'm buying this one hardcore. I think absolutely. Right. This is the second best lineup in the Pac-12. I don't need to see anything from Oregon or Colorado or any of the other schools that you mentioned. UCLA is going to be great. We know that. I think it's Arizona, UCLA for the conference title again next year. Now, with that said, do I think Arizona is a real national championship contender? As of now, the way their roster looks without those 2 guys, no. We don't know who they're going to add, so we can talk about that. I agree. If they don't add, as you said, a proven transfer, preferably a scorer, a guy that can handle the ball part-time, a la Ben Mathurin, I don't know if they're going to win a championship, but this team is good enough to definitely be top 2, top 3 in the Pac-12. So there's going to be a lot to be excited about next year, regardless of who else Tommy Lloyd brings in, assuming Dalen Terry stays. Okay.
Yep.
So and then we've got our guy. I want to try it again. What's his name? Philip Borovikinen. I think
I'm going to bet you the first name is pronounced Philippe.
All right, Philippe Borovikinen. And we'll see if his name is actually pronounced like that. Okay. So sorry if I screwed that up, but I had to give it a shot. Okay, number 3, let's transition a little bit. Women's basketball team, Shane, has, I think it's 8 players in the transfer portal, including Ben Duyeni. Should we be concerned, buy or sell?
No, I'm going to sell that all day, Eric. This is more to me about the writing on the wall for those players than it is anything else. None of those players outside of Ben Duyeni saw a consistent role with the team last season in terms of playing significant minutes. Arizona has a wealth of talent coming in, plus Kate Reese and several other starters returning. I know Adia Barnes championed how much depth the team had last season, and maybe they did have more depth than the previous year, but basketball, men or women, it's all about stars. You have a couple of superstars, you have a chance to beat anyone. And Arizona's bringing back Kate Reese and Shayna Pellington, and they've got 3 top 50 recruits, I think top 30 recruits, 4 top 100. So I think what they're going to gain is going to be a lot more than what they're going to lose. So I think it's more about these student athletes wanting to go somewhere where they know they're going to get more playing time, as opposed to maybe even getting further buried down the depth chart.
Okay, fair. I'm a little concerned because 8 is more than half the roster. And I understand that Arizona's bringing in a really exciting class, but it makes you wonder if there's a little bit of infighting going, towards in the program. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, Eric, if some of the those top recruits decide to decommit, then maybe we can talk about there being some sort of culture issue there. Until I see that, I think this is just players wanting to leave and go play somewhere where they can get more playing time. And I don't begrudge them that at all. And
let me say this, I'm all Adia Barnes. I think she should have a lifetime contract at Arizona. So I really don't care if there are issues behind the scenes, because Adia, as she's told us, no buttholes. Now we don't know any of these girls personally that are leaving outside of Sam Thomas, who we've had on 5 times on the show.
At least. Yeah.
But, and that's a big loss, but Kate Reese and the freshmen will be great. And I'm really excited to see next year's team. They should be a top 15 team and should host another regional on their home court. So that'll be exciting. Okay. Number 4. So we have Clancy Shields on, and I don't know if we're trying to kiss up with this question, Shane, but Arizona men's tennis in the 2021-22 school year, it appears that Arizona's men's tennis team is the second most successful team on campus behind men's basketball. Is that true by yourself?
Right now, I'd buy it. A couple of weeks ago, I might not have, but I think I'm buying it partly because of the struggles of the baseball team. And, you asked me last week if I was concerned about the team after they lost 3 out of 4. And I said, no, I wasn't. But if they lose the series to Utah, I'll be concerned. Well, they did. And they're out of the top 25 now, at least in
their RPIs in the 40s, Shane.
They're just outside the top 40 in RPI now. So partly because of that, unfortunately. But yes, I would say men's tennis is the best active program right now, just ahead of beach volleyball. And I would see, which is ranked in the top 20. They just lost to number 7 GCU, but they're a pretty good team. Softball's starting to come around. They have a ways to go as well. So yeah, I think the men's tennis team is the best active team, and for the calendar year that they could certainly finish. I think part of it depends on how they do in the NCAA tournament. They were a Sweet 16 team last season. Hopefully they do at least as well this year. They went undefeated in Pac-12 play. They've got the conference tournament coming up this week.
Amazing.
Yeah. They're having a great year, and what Clancy Shields has done, building this team really up from nothing, kind of like Adia Barnes did with the women's basketball team, and hopefully Jed Fish will do with the football team, really is remarkable. And if men's tennis was a little bit more of a prominent sport, it'd be getting a lot more play.
Yeah, it's time to give Clancy a big extension, Dave. You got to keep this guy. We can't lose him.
He did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's 2027 or something like that.
All right, there you go, Dave. All right, I missed that. How did I not know that? Whoops. Good for you. Good for you, Clancy. Way to go. And Shane, I know you had a great conversation with him. We'll hear that here coming up in a couple of segments. Number 5 here in Buy or Sell. So I was playing golf with a friend named John who listens to this podcast, U of A alum. And he
John, thanks for listening.
He came up with a theory, and this is really good. So I have to give him credit for this one. He said Mike Candrea knew what he was doing, and he did Caitlin Lowe a favor in doing so. So Candrea knows that this year's team was not going to be that great. They lost a lot last year. We know that, Jesse Harper and some key seniors. And so he stepped aside, knowing that Caitlin Lowe would probably have a rough first season, but in doing so, it would kind of give him a chance to go out on a successful season, and give her a chance to kind of rebuild things to show her coaching prowess. Do you buy that theory that Candrea knew what was going on with this year's team and wanted to give Caitlin a chance to really turn this thing around the right way? Buy or sell?
I'll buy that it's plausible. I think, and I don't know, maybe your friend knows more than I do. To me, being the outsider, I would just think it's more likely that he decided before the season, this is the right time to do it. So I can't speak to, how strategic it was in that regard. Again, I will say, give Caitlin Lowe some time, and I think she'll do very well. We're already starting to see some strides after their series win over Oregon. They just don't have the pitching this year. That's really the big thing. They have a lot of young hitters.
Candrea knew that when he left. The timing, what he did. I mean, the guy we know is a brilliant coach. He knew this year's team wasn't going to be to typical Arizona standards, right?
Well, maybe, but I mean, if he had gone through the recruiting process like he always did, don't you think he could bring some more talent in? So
sometimes you don't with the pitching, you just don't know what you're going to get.
But again, like I said last week or a week before, whenever it was, about Caitlin Lowe, give her time. If you need a top 10 national pitcher to win in college softball, and Arizona just doesn't have that. They get that, along with some of the young hitters they have, are only going to get better. 2 years are going to, and maybe not next year, but the year after that, they'll be College World Series contenders again. So But to your question, I don't know, Eric. I don't know Mike Andrea. I can't speak to that. As certainly plausible.
Yeah.
But maybe he decided, maybe that played a role in it. But I think maybe, I'm guessing it was more, talking with his family and deciding it's just the right time to step away.
Well, he did Caitlin a solid as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to buy that theory just because I think John's onto something there.
You are free to buy that theory all day long.
Thank you. Yes. So if so, good for you, Mike Andrea. And I do believe Caitlin will turn it around. And I don't want to hear any let's get rid of Caitlin rumor. I mean, that's a bunch of garbage. Okay. Our bonus question every week. You don't know what I'm going to ask, but we have not talked any football. So I was just sitting there thinking about this, and I've been going to football games. My first year of going to just about every home game was 2001. I'm going to say that this year's home schedule on paper is the best that Arizona has had since at least my years of going to school, if not beforehand. When you have, this is the home schedule for those of you who don't know. They have Mississippi State, division, FCS champion North Dakota State. Then they have Oregon, USC, Washington State, ASU. And I missed, which one did I miss? And Colorado as well, who stinks in the middle of that. But outside of that, you have 6 games that are really appealing. In Colorado, knowing that Arizona is going to be a favorite and probably going to win that game. I mean, this has to be the most exciting home schedule on paper that the Wildcats have had in decades. No?
Oh, my research doesn't go back that far, so it's hard to say, but certainly in years, absolutely. I'll buy that. I think back to Rich Rodriguez's first season when they played Oklahoma State at home. They beat USC. I believe that was the last time they beat USC. So those are 2 big home wins. So that was and obviously when an even numbered year, I should say, ASU is a home game for Arizona. So there's, even though they lost that one, but it was on the schedule. So I would say since maybe at least then, it's been a long, and especially with the non-conference opponents. When's the last time Arizona had a really good non-conference opponent at home? So I don't know about decades because I don't go. I was born in 1980, Eric. Okay, and I've been a fan since the mid 90s, late 90s, or since I really started paying a lot of attention. But I will buy that. Certainly, that is their best, most appealing home schedule in years, maybe in a decade or so.
Yeah, well, and I was thinking about that 2012 year. That was a great year. I mean, when you had it, I think you're right, Shane. The key to a great home schedule is ASU at home on the back end and having a marquee non-conference opponent as they do in Oklahoma State
and USC as well.
And USC as well. Yeah, which happens in even years as well. So the even year schedules are always going to be better. The other one that comes to mind, and I'd have to look at it, was before I got there, 2000, U of A hosted Ohio State. I was not at that game, but that you were in school. I don't know if you remember that game.
I wasn't. I remember it. I wasn't there, but I do remember. I remember they got their butt kicked.
Yeah, it was not really a surprise, but it's always fun to see a great home schedule, and that's why I think Arizona Stadium needs to be packed, without a doubt. With this home schedule, I'm so excited for September. I can't even tell you. I mean, I know we got to suffer through the hot months in Arizona living here, but I am so excited to watch this team. The optimism for me, I can't remember. It's been years since I felt this way.
Well, and Eric, you deserve to see a home win in person because the one game you missed.
Thank you, Shane.
I know. I'm not rubbing it in. I'm saying that you deserve to actually be there because you've been a loyal friend and true to this program even when they haven't deserved it.
The last home win that I saw in person, you also saw in person.
1990. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you and I were there for that UCLA game where Grant Gunnell took over. Khalil Tate was a surprise inactive, and Grant Gunnell won the game. It was like 20-17 back in, what was that, 2019? Yeah.
We actually have to remember what year it was. The last home game we were at
They haven't won a home game that I've been to this decade. And I guess you can,
That's considering you've been to every game except one that is.
Well, no, but also 2020.
The COVID years, right. Yeah. But they didn't win any then. So,
but it's like, man, I can't wait to celebrate and have a nice, pleasant drive home after a win. I forgot what that feeling's like. All right, coming up next, Adam Gorney going to join us from Rivals and Yahoo Sports. He's going to tell us everything about recruiting. So get ready to go to class with him. And then Shane has a chance to sit down with Clancy Shields, coach of the second best team on Arizona's campus this year, here on Wildcat Country, powered by Backcourt Marketing.
What's up, Wildcat Country? Chris Krakowski here. Bear down. Let's go. I wanted to introduce you to the newest sponsor of the Wildcat Country podcast. That's the Ice Shaker. So check this out. Keep your drinks hot, keep your drinks cold We got you covered. Snag one today. Use coupon code Wildcat Country at iceshaker.com.
Shane, very glad to have our friend Adam Gorney, national recruiting expert for Rivals and Yahoo Sports, joining us. Once again, you're the lead guy, so I'm trying to find ways just to say that in different ways. Adam, great to have you. Since the last time we had you, Arizona went 1-11 in 2021 and somehow ended up with the number one recruiting class in all of the Pac-12. Of all the crazy things that you have ever seen in your role, this has to be kind of up there, right? Of a team being this dreadful and getting this good of a class right away.
Yeah, I mean, having USC finish dead last in the Pac-12 team recruiting rankings, I think 2 years ago, was certainly up there. But it proves that if you sell a vision and you sell an idea and you can recruit at one high school in particular, that you can definitely put a class together here. I think guys saw opportunity. They love Jed Fish and his staff and what they're kind of envisioning there. And then a lot of guys, and because of the coaching carousel and a lot of other reasons, this all kind of came together. But I think as we've seen through spring football here, a lot of those guys are going to be immediate contributors, and pretty much every position is open for a 1-11 team.
Yeah, I mean, like Eric said, thanks again for chatting with us. Between you and Matt Moreno, we always learn a ton, and we feel like we've gone to school every time that you're both on. So we really do appreciate it. A lot has been made about Jed Fish trying to get guys from the NFL, in telling recruits, come here and you can get that experience that will help get you to that next level, get to the NFL. He said a bunch of guys come in, top from like Sean McVay recently, talked to coaches locally. He's had a bunch of other guys talk to the pro coaches, talk to the players. How much of that do you think is why Jed Fish and his staff have been able to put together a class like this?
Yeah, and as you see across the country, I don't know if it's becoming a trend, but it's certainly something that a lot more coaches are focusing on, is bringing guys in that have NFL experience or onto their coaching staff, or bringing guys in to speak from NFL teams. Every single person on that Arizona football team thinks they could play in the NFL. And that's true across the country, whether that's the case or not. But that's the goal for pretty much everyone who plays Power 5 football. So, inviting in Sean McVay, who, a Super Bowl champion, or inviting these guys in, or having guys on staff, or having older guys. Teams have done this where they have older NFL guys that have kind of retired to come in as analysts. All of that expertise is invaluable. And I think that is one of the reasons why he does it. I think that's one of the reasons why Jed got the job in the first place, because of NFL experience. And I think it's one of the reasons, why a lot of kids have started to look at Arizona again. They're recruiting much, much harder than they have in previous staffs, but also that NFL experience. Every time I talk to a recruit, they love guys that when they go to meet them, they've either played in the NFL, played the position that they're going to play, or have coached in the NFL. A lot of guys can kind of talk it, but these guys have really walked the walk in the NFL. And I think that's invaluable for recruiting purposes.
Let me dive into the quarterback room, which is going to look a lot different than it did last year. Thank goodness. Jaden DeLaura looks like he's going to be the starter as of now. The Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year, transfer from Washington State. You also have Noah Fafita, who we've talked about before, who's impressed in camp so far, spring camp as a freshman. But is DeLaura the guy for the foreseeable future, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, obviously put up nice numbers and had, nice things happen before he transferred. And I think that level of being able to play, his experience is going to be important. But Noah Fafita is not a kid who's going to stand on the sidelines long. And as we've talked about numerous times, he is short, but he can make plays. He can make throws at an unbelievable level. And the comfort level that he has, I don't believe that T-Mac is going to be on the sideline long, Keon Burnett. And so that chemistry cannot be, remade. I mean, DeLaura will be able to deliver the ball to them and run the offense. But the chemistry that Fafita has with his guys, I think, is also going to be important. So certainly DeLaura, I think, is the guy right now. But I don't think Noah Fafita stands on the sidelines all too long.
Adam, how surprised were you with how the T-Mac end of recruitment played out, with him decommitting from Oregon, ending up at Arizona? And the second part of that question is, how good should we expect this guy to be in year one?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a surprise. And, well, the coaching, if Mario Cristobal is still at Oregon, I think he stays. But when he took those visits to Arizona, I think he was surprised at how much he liked it, how much his family liked it. Getting Keon Burnett to decommit from USC to go there certainly helped. Getting Fafita in the class absolutely helped. And T-Mac is a unique character, I think, more than, playing on CBS every night or in front of 100,000 people, or even at Autzen Stadium, which is certainly a draw. He wanted comfort level. He wanted someplace where he really felt most comfortable. And that ended up being Arizona. His friends went there. He was recruited hard there. He loved his visits to Tucson, and he gets on the field from day one. So I think it was definitely surprising how it all played out, but huge for Arizona in terms of that. And I would imagine he's one of the starting wide receivers in the first game. I can't see someone of his skill level and the need at the position, someone overtaking him. I think he's just too valuable, too skilled, too advanced, and he's going to be a long, skinny kid. He's not going to be all bulked up and stuff, but that's perfectly fine. It's who he is. They're going to throw the ball a lot to him, and they're going to find ways to get the ball in his hands a ton.
Boy, that's exciting. Shane and I are really excited to watch him come San Diego State September 3rd. Let's talk about running backs. We talked about quarterback and wide receiver. Arizona got two really interesting names in this class, Jonah Coleman and Speedy Luke. Which one do you have rated ahead of the other one? And which one, can you give us some college comparisons of how those guys might play as compared to guys we've already seen on the college level?
Yeah, Speedy Luke. His name is Rayshon Luke, but everybody calls him Speedy because he's so fast. And fast. He was great in San Antonio with the All-American Bowl, which was a little surprising because, he had a great high school career. But he really dominated out in San Antonio. He ran away from people, and we're talking about the best high school football players in the country. He's also a guy that can catch it out of the backfield when needed. So he's not just a between the tackles runner. When you see him, you'll see why he's super small and lean and stuff. He's kind of like a track star that plays football, but is very good playing football. So, I think they're going to be innovative in the ways that they get him the ball. Jonah Coleman can catch it out of the backfield. He can run. You can use him all over the field in motion and those kinds of things. I think Coleman's a little bit more bulked up. So you're going to kind of see similar ways to get them the ball. And we all know, watching Pac-12 football a lot, you space people out, you get bad matchups, and then you exploit them. And so there aren't a lot of linebackers in the conference who are going to run with Speedy Luke. Jonah Coleman can do a lot of things in a lot of different ways. And I think that way, you're going to have a lot of ways to get those guys the ball to pick up chunk yards.
Adam, it seems like the biggest question mark going into the season for Arizona is the same question Arizona has for just about every year now, and that's the offensive line. They have three-star linemen coming in, a couple of guys who are ranked top 1,000 nationally, a couple transfers as well. Which newcomers do you think might be able to immediately help up front, if any?
And that's the thing. Even though it is the Pac-12 and we talk about speed and playmakers and all that kind of stuff, you will see that, offensive linemen are really, really important. You need them. You need to be able to run the ball. You need to be able to control the line of scrimmage and to throw the ball to T-Mac or to get Jonah Coleman on some sort of route or something like that. The quarterback needs time and not to get his head blown off every single play. So, that's the thing. And I think every team is trying to address it. And that has been sort of an issue out West for many years. And it's something that has not been solved, is that there just aren't enough good offensive linemen. Many leave the region. And then, there aren't the quantity just isn't there as you see in other parts of the country. I travel around the entire country watching, football camps and high school football games. And when you just go to the Midwest or to the Southeast and see offensive linemen, they just don't look like they do out here. So in terms of that, you have to scheme for that. But I think a guy like Grayson Stovall is a very talented guy, kind of an interior guy that I really liked when I saw him play. The Hawaiian kid, Jonas Savigny, is another kid who's big and bulked up and kind of has that Polynesian attitude of putting people on the ground. So I think those two, but you're going to have to build out that depth, whether that's through the transfer portal, which obviously has taken a big time role in college football recruiting, especially for immediate needs, but also through the high school ranks. You can't let guys leave the state, which has been a problem forever in Arizona. And so Stovall is an important piece there because he's a local kid and he stayed home.
We had Grayson on our podcast. He was the first 2022 commit under Jed Fish we had on our podcast. It seems like a lifetime ago, but yeah, we're excited. Yeah. We're excited to see him. Since we last had you on, Adam, I don't think we've had you on since Don Brown left for UMass and Johnny Nansen came in as the new DC. Give us your overall thoughts on him. Obviously a great recruiter. The big question is, can he be a defensive coordinator at the college level? What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, replacing Don Brown's going to be tough. Just having that, institutional knowledge and everything that he's been able to do throughout his entire career is going to be very difficult. But in terms of, did Don Brown really want to be an active recruiter, not only at his age, but just with his stature? Probably not as much as Johnny Nansen's going to be. And that, I think that's going to be the most important part is he has a lot of connections into Southern California. He has a ton of connections into the Polynesian community. Those are two places that Arizona has recruited in years past and will continue to do. And honestly, X's and O's are important things, but you get guys in that can run any kind of scheme and they'll be able to figure it out. In terms of him, being, one of the, best defensive coordinators in the Pac-12, we'll see. I mean, he has to call plays on game day and handle all of those things. But as long as you can get players in there to do it, I think he'll be just fine. As a recruiter, probably one of the best coaches in the entire conference, has a tremendous amount of connections. Kids will be on campus because of him. He'll be able to kind of close the deal on a lot of kids. And I think really that's most important right now.
My last question for you, Adam, we always appreciate your time very much. It's kind of a big one. So I'm trying to nutshell as best I can, but just with it, the new world of NIL, what kind of movement have you seen nationally in terms of recruiting? Is it more of an equalizer or is it more like the rich getting richer? What have you seen so far? Have you seen any movement there overall?
Yeah, I could go on for hours about this topic just because it's such an interesting thing. What used to be illegal, giving kids cars or money or whatever else, is now perfectly legal. In terms of like it being an equalizer, the teams that are going to be really, really good are going to have really, really big NIL deals anyway. So Texas A&M's last recruiting class, Jimbo Fisher will go on and on about how everybody just fell in love with College Station and him. But many of those kids came for NIL deals. Nico Iamaleava, a kid from Southern California, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, went to Tennessee, reportedly on an $8 million NIL deal. Carnell Tate is a 5-star wide receiver, from IMG Academy, who's originally from Chicago, now looking at Tennessee. Brandon Innes, the number 1 receiver in the country, now looking at Tennessee. And it's because of these collectives. So a collective, for people who don't really follow this closely enough, are people that are alumni who are not associated with the coaching staff, who put together a pool of money to then deliver basically to a kid it can't be to go to that school, but we all know how that works. Directives are one-on-one deals where the CEO of a company has $2 million and wants a kid at Missouri, and so he can do that way. The problem is that there are some schools with huge alumni bases that can get these collectives to be huge pools of money for a lot of kids. And now they're not even hiding it. They almost want people to know that they have this big pool of money so that they look at their school. So when you look at schools across the country, Texas A&M has taken advantage of this. Florida's putting together a huge thing. Florida State has started. Texas has a big one. We'll see what the NIL deals are for like Arch Manning or something. But you think about like USC, think about the alumni base there compared to at Washington State in terms of how much money they can get. So the rich get richer in some sense, but people who are very creative and can get these collectives together to get money should have at least a little bit of a benefit. Tennessee is the team that has not really won a lot of games recently, but are starting to land high 4-star and 5-star kids. A lot of it is because of NIL deals. And so other teams will have to figure this out before Congress or the NCAA comes in with legislation to sort of put their hands around this in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
My mind is blown after hearing that, your explanation of that, Adam. It truly is. And I will say this, Arizona getting T-Mac and the guys from Juice County, as Jed Fish calls them, I think the NIL deals certainly helped there. So I think from our point of view, there are people in Tucson who are making noise behind the scenes, and we appreciate them. My last question for you, Adam, is Arizona has 4 commits for 2023, including Braden Dorman, who's a 4-star quarterback, 3-star, 4-star quarterback. Tell us about him and what we can expect when he gets to campus in a year.
Yeah, he is a kid that I really liked when I've seen him. He's a big kid, 6'5", probably will come in at 210, 215. So he's going to be a big pocket passer, can throw on the run, can throw it all over the field. And I think getting him locked in early is important because he's going to be a huge part of recruiting the rest of the class. So going after the receivers that he wants, going after the skill players that he wants, I think is going to be an important part. He and, Jed Fish and the staff can kind of work together on the list of getting guys in. And that's why a lot of schools want quarterbacks locked in early, not just because they're such an important part of having, being locked into a school, but because then they can start recruiting the guys that the rest of the staff wants and that he wants on in the class too. So he's a very talented kid, big arm, can make all the throws, isn't going to be kind of running all over the place like a crazy man. But you're going to have a guy who's 6'5" and a guy who's maybe 5'5" in the quarterback room. So definitely different skill sets and different things that they can do. But a very talented pocket passer who could deliver the ball.
Well, Adam, we always appreciate you having you on. Let me get your title right this time, the National Recruiting Director for Rivals and Yahoo Sports. You are the main expert. And as I like to say with Matt Moreno when he comes on, it's like we just took a class and now class is dismissed. Adam, thanks again for joining Shane and I.
Thanks, guys.
Every business needs at least a little social media help. Well, now you can get a free 15-minute mini marketing audit from Backcourt Marketing. All you have to do is provide Backcourt Marketing with the links to your social media profiles, and you will get customized recommendations about how to better utilize your social media platforms for your business goals specific to your industry. Learn how you can improve your online brand for your business or your friends and colleagues by texting Mini Marketing Audit. That's Mini Marketing Audit to 480-744-6173. That's 480-744-6173. Schedule yours today. Very happy to be joined by the head coach of the Pac-12 champion men's tennis team, Clancy Shields, who's kind enough to join us as he and the team get ready to head to California for the Pac-12 championship tournament later this week. Coach, thanks for taking time for us. And first of all, again, congrats on the championship. Let me start off by asking you, this program, let's just be honest, it really wasn't that competitive before you arrived about 5 years ago. Excuse me. You got to the Sweet 16, the national tournament last season, and very close to getting further than that. Pac-12 champs this season. What's been the key to making this program one of the nation's best over these last several years and just in climbing that ladder and getting better every year?
Well, thanks for having me on. It's exciting to talk to you. And yeah, I mean, honestly, there's no secret to it. I think the secret is that there's no substitute for hard work. And, I look back in the past 6 years and I think about all the time that we spent on the court and all the ups and the downs. And I really feel like it was fitting for our team to win it this year. And we've been building this for 5 or 6 years. And, when I first started here, we lost our first 15 matches in the Pac-12. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum where, we went undefeated this year and we went winless my first year. So, I think it was just never losing hope that we could turn this around, that there was a great belief in that we could do something here at Arizona. And I think that's been the biggest thing, is that the belief in our team and belief in each other. And I think recruiting a little better players helps. And,
sure.
And once we kind of landed our first kid, Philip Malbasic from Sweden, he told his buddies how great Tucson was and how awesome Arizona was. And those guys were like, man, I want to come to Arizona. And so we started getting a few better players on our roster. And then, then we landed the number 2 American last year, and he's bolstered our team. And so it's been a process, but these guys are special. They need to make a movie about this team. They're that special of a group, and just an incredible ride this year.
I'll tell you, you and Adia Barnes are like textbook examples on how to build a program from the ground up. So it's been fun to watch both of your teams, along with several others during the spring season at Arizona. Going back in time a little bit, I know you played collegiately at Boise State, won 3 WAC titles there, got to a Sweet 16 as a player. How did that experience shape you for the head coaching role you're currently in?
Well, you just have to love what you do. Right. And I got in, I went to, college thinking I was going to be a teacher. I wanted to be a PE teacher. I had a great mentor and I got going on it. And then I saw how much fun our head coach was having. And I was like, dang, this guy's 60 years old. He's got such good energy. He loves what he does. And I'm like, man, this could be a career choice for me. So, I jumped into it, but the main thing is, man, I love what I do. I think it starts, when the kids come to the facility, they feel that from myself and our staff that we really love what we do. We love to get to work. And, the best part of our day is getting on the court with these guys, and that, it's never been a job to wake up in the morning and I got to go to work today. And it's like, you're jumping out of bed. I can't wait to get on the court and get better and looking forward to, the challenges that are coming in front of us. But, Boise State, yeah, back when we played, we didn't have the Power 5 conferences and such. It was, really a lot of our mid-major programs were really elite in tennis, at least. And so, I think that the belief that we were the little engine that could at Boise State, and we showed that in football there, is we brought that mentality to Arizona that, yes, we can do something special here. And it seems like we're doing it.
How much of tennis, even in singles play, is truly a team sport at the collegiate level? Like, can individual match victories be contagious in a way?
Absolutely. I think college tennis is a total team sport. I mean, you see the individual efforts out there and they're on their own court, but the reality is you're emotionally tied to all 6 courts. And when one of your players does something well on a court, you feel it on your individual court. You gain confidence. You start believing in that your team can do it. And I've seen it happen where that's kind of the secret sauce for us is really the guys have such good energy on the court, and it's so demoralizing for our opponents, and it's uplifting for our team that we can do things. And that was kind of our message this week. It was like, let's be the most enthusiastic team out here. And I can't tell you how much that helped us, because we had a lot of nerves going into this past week and knowing what was on the line. And
sure,
enthusiasm is just the great is a great thing that can get you over the hump. And it starts from the top, and I expect our staff to come in with that every day too.
So for those fans who don't follow men's tennis closely, at least maybe until now, that they saw that you guys won the Pac-12 but aren't familiar with the team itself, you definitely have some stars on this team, including a very talented Swedish player, Jonas Siverts, who's been a 2-time Pac-12 Player of the Week this season. Tell us about the makeup of this team and what makes these guys special, both on the court and away from it.
Yeah, we have a really good squad, but we don't have a guy that sticks out as like, man, he's going to dominate every match. And I think that's what I really like about the team, is that we find 4 individuals that will step up on any given day. If one guy's off, another guy's going to take his place. But I mean, Jonas Siverts, he beat the number 1 player in the country this year. He beat the number 2 player in the country. He's a really special kid. He's a special talent. And I think that inspires the rest of our guys, because when you're practicing with a player who's beating the number 1 and number 2 players in the country, and you're per se maybe beating that player in practice, you start believing, man, I can do it. And if I can beat this guy and he's beating those guys, I mean, how good could I be? And I think that's the really cool thing about our team, is that we've developed a good roster of guys who are really good, and they beat each other in practice. And so when they see each other having success, they know they can do that as well, because, they beat each other every day in practice.
So you won the Pac-12 regular season title. You celebrated that. How long did you give the guys a chance to celebrate that before you tell them, okay, we still got some unfinished business in the Pac-12 in California this week?
Yeah, well, I mean, our motto has been, success without celebration is a sin. And so we want to celebrate it, and we want to, because this business is too serious. It's like, oh, okay, on to the next thing. And it's like, no way, let the kids celebrate it. Let them enjoy their moment. And, we've really given them the last couple of days, but, I saw a couple of guys this morning, and, we started talking about, hey, we got to get back to, getting in the grind and getting in the trenches and getting back to work. And so, but that's the thing, we're going to celebrate it, but the same thing, it's like, you got to be humble. humble in victory, humble in defeat. And so I think our guys are going to get refocused really quick. And if not, I'm pretty good at refocusing them.
And you talked about how much the guys love Tucson, and that's been a big recruiting tool for you. You've spent about 5 years in Tucson now. What do you think about the city, which is easily one of the biggest college towns in the country? What do you think about Tucson?
I love it. I mean, and I love it because for these reasons. I mean, not only just the athletic department and the support that I've gotten from all the coaches and the administrators and everyone, but just the community that has shown up to our matches. 5 or 6 years ago, we were getting 10 to 20 people at our matches, and it was kind of embarrassing. And this, our past 5 matches at home, there wasn't an empty seat in the grandstand. And so that's the cool thing about Tucson, is that if you're doing things well, they get behind you, they support you. And it's a great community feel. And it's like, when I look around, and I've been to everywhere in the country, I mean, there couldn't be a better place to be than Tucson. The amount of love they have for the University of Arizona. Go around, go spend some time at some other places, and you'll come back to Tucson and say, this place is special and unique. And man, you wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah, I got to ask you, I know it's pretty well known that one of your biggest supporters has been Jed Fish, who's got obviously the tennis background of his own. Most people know. What's your relationship like with him? How has he encouraged your program?
Yeah, well, I think number one, I just appreciate his friendship, and he's been mentoring me, and every time I get an opportunity, whether it's we're hitting on the court or I see him, I mean, he gives us little nuggets of things. I mean, he actually gave us a nugget for this past week. He had Bill Belichick in town, and I asked him, I said, well, what was the theme of what came away from that? And he said, Bill said is, success is always done in advance. And our team was really focused on that, of having great practices. And, we talked about those things. But Jed has just been a great supporter for myself, but everybody in the department. And, I know they had a tough go last year, and I've been in those shoes, but he's doing a great job. He really has uplifted everybody in this department. He's made everyone care more deeply about each other. I think that's been the special thing. But also, I can't wait to go back and watch them play next fall, and I encourage everyone to get season tickets, because this is the real deal. And there's not going to be a more rabid fan out there than me, because I know how much he cares about our team. And that's the special thing about our department, is that all these coaches, I mean, we won the regular season on Sunday, and everyone reached out to me and congratulated our team. And that type of camaraderie amongst our staff is important. And it just makes you fall in love with this place that much more.
Hopefully the football team follows your blueprint for success for sure. It looks like they're on their way with the recruiting class. They've got coming in. Last question for you, Coach. There were so many positive sports stories at Arizona last spring. And like I said, your team was among them. Second round of the NCAA tournament, your guys beat a very good Kentucky team that you weren't, quote unquote, supposed to beat. You come very close to knocking off number 3 Tennessee. I know you have your sights set on the Pac-12 championships this weekend, but can you tell me what it's going to take to advance even further in that tournament this season?
We definitely can do it. And if you can get to the final 16, then you can get to the Elite 8. If you can get to the Elite 8, you can get to the Final 4. And so it's just taking one step at a time. But the belief is there from our team. They know they can do it. And I just think we just got to keep getting better. We have 3 weeks till the NCAA tournament. And I know that sounds cliche, but I walked away from this weekend as happy as I was that we won. Man, I have a list of notes of things that we can get better on. And
Sure.
We really have to clean that up if we want to go deep in the tournament, because everybody's really good. And we're not going to sneak up on anybody like we did last year. I mean, I think that was the thing. Some teams were like, oh, Arizona, they're not very good. And we came in and they weren't ready for us, but that's not going to be the case this year. So, I think skill wins in the long run. And we've got to continue building that skill. But man, our culture is really good. Our belief is really high. This team is as close as I've ever seen it. And so I think there's good things in store, but we're going to take it one step at a time for sure.
Sure. Yeah. And we're excited to see the end result of the season as much as you are. Coach Clancy Shields, I'm sorry it's taken 99 episodes of Wildcat Country to have you on, but thanks so much for taking time to chat. Safe travels. Best of luck at the Pac-12 championships and the NCAAs. We'd love to have you on again before we record another 99 episodes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bear down.
Welcome back to Wildcat Country. Thanks to Adam Gorney and Clancy Shields for joining us. Great to talk to them. Just want to give a thanks to our friends at Just Sports. They hooked Shane and I up with some awesome U of A merchandise. If you are watching the live stream, Shane is going to put on his Wildcat hat, the old school logo hat, which I also have one of those. Very cool. Check them out, shopjustsports.com. You can, if you go on there to just shopjustsports.com, you can use promo code Wildcat Country, all caps, for 10% off site-wide. So check them out, justsports.com. All right, Shane, I have a couple of things that I'd like to talk about that are not necessarily Arizona current athletics programs, discussions, let's say, but I want to throw these out there at you. Number one, the USFL started this past week, and we saw our buddy, if you pay attention to Twitter and you listen to the show, you saw our friend Scooby Wright,
who loves his ice shaker. Yes,
that's right. He got his ice shaker, and he touted that on Twitter. And he also had a pretty big game in the USFL for Birmingham, correct? And they won and everything like that. My question to you: will Scooby Wright get another NFL chance? Yes or no?
Ooh, well, I mean, look, we're going to have him on the show probably again in a couple of weeks. So yes, absolutely, he's going to get another NFL chance. I think he definitely could. And that particular play where he strips the quarterback, that reminded me a lot of the third play of the 2014 Territorial Cup game when he gets in the backfield and Taylor Kelly never sees him coming, and that was a fumble return for a touchdown. But sometimes in WWE, if a wrestler comes back after a while and has a big match, they chant, "You still got it." And I was kind of thinking that with Scooby, he never lost it. You know what's crazy to me though, Shane, is that Scooby, when he was on with us a few times, he comes on every 6 months or so with us. He never talked about playing football again. Yeah. He was all, I'm going to be a firefighter and I'm going to go do UFC. And next thing you know, Scooby Wright's playing for Birmingham of the USFL. To me, this is crazy. Like, this dude just changed his life career path and like excelled at it. Like, ridiculous. Awesome. Good for him. Yeah. Very happy for our guy Scooby. And again, I think we're going to have him on pretty soon again to talk about his time in the USFL once he gets a couple games under his belt. But no, thrilled he's get the opportunity, and hopefully he'll be, because he was part of the Alliance of American Football, and then they folded. Then the XFL, they canceled their season with COVID, so he didn't get to finish either of those seasons.
Right.
I really hope he gets to see this season through at the very least with Birmingham and hopefully lead them to a championship.
And I hope he gets another shot in an NFL training camp. That's all I want. I want to see Scooby Wright get in NFL preseason games just to show what he's got, because that guy is a gamer. And I'm sorry, but you can't have enough gamers on your team. If I was a head coach, I'm just saying that. All right. The next question, you're not going to like me for this one. And I know what you're.
It's okay. I don't like you already. It's fine.
Fair enough. The NBA playoffs are going on. Will a former Arizona Wildcat player win an NBA championship ring, in your opinion?
This season?
This year?
Well, let's see. We got Golden State. We got Steve Kerr and Andre Iguodala over there.
We've got Denver, who they're playing. We got
Aaron Gordon.
And Zeke Naji. Yeah.
Zeke Naji as well. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, who else?
You know where I'm going with this, Shane? We're talking about the Phoenix Suns and DeAndre Ayton. Is DeAndre Ayton going to win a ring this year? Yes or no?
Well, my pick to win the West was Memphis, and then they went and laid an egg that game one.
That's why I'm giving you a chance to revise
my prediction. I don't dislike you for this. This is fun. This gives me a chance to rant about how unlucky our teams are. People love hearing me talk about that. So I'll tell you, the way the Warriors have looked the first two games against Denver, they look scary good. So if it comes down to Suns Warriors in the conference finals, then I think whoever wins that series would probably go in and win the world title. So yeah, I'll say that a former Wildcat. Is it weird that I automatically went to Kerr and Iguodala at night and didn't think about Ayton? I mean, that was bad. I'm sorry,
Shane. I have one of my friends that I will, for his benefit, I'll let it remain unnamed, that when you root against, when you say things that like we're cursed and everything, he calls that loser talk. We're not going to have that on Wildcat Country. The Phoenix Suns are going to win the NBA title. DeAndre Ayton, though he may not want to stay with the Suns.
Damn it, Eric.
Is going to get himself a title.
Why would you say that?
I'm not guaranteeing.
You predicted Arizona's going to win the national championship, and then
that's
okay. Now I don't like you. I don't like you again. We're back to where we started.
All right, come on, DeAndre Ayton. Well, all right. So, do you believe DeAndre Ayton will be a member of the Phoenix Suns next year? How about that?
That's a really good question. Depends on the Sarver's still in charge by then. I will be optimistic and say yes, especially if he keeps playing like he did in game 1 against New Orleans. I mean, granted, it's the Pelicans, but yeah, he keeps. I think the issue was he missed a lot of playing time this season, not a lot, but some games. And then JaVale McGee and then Bismack Biyombo, they all come in and they put up similar numbers. And then Sarver's probably off going, see, anyone can do that. But Ayton's special, and I think hopefully he keeps reminding Sarver of that. If it were up to James Jones, I'm sure he would have been signed already. But yeah, I will reluctantly say that he will be a member of the Suns again. But and with Sarver in charge, I'm not holding my breath.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is the Suns, as I look, do not have an active NBA draft pick here in 2022, which is a problem because I would have loved to have seen a front court of DeAndre Ayton and Christian Koloko. How much fun would that have been? I mean, think about that. So I hope Suns, maybe you trade back into the later half of the first round and you give up something just to go get a cheap young center that you can groom behind Ayton. What do you think about that?
Let me just end with this, Eric. And I know this is Wildcat country, so I won't spend too much time on the Suns. But if the Suns get to the NBA Finals again, I think they'll win it. I think they're going to be stopped by either Memphis or Golden State in the conference finals. But if they get there, I think they'll win it this time. How's that?
I love it. And we'll stick with that. I want to thank our friends, Backcourt Marketing. Check them out, backcourtmarketing.com. They have been great sponsors of this program. And if you know a small business that can use some social media help, give them a referral to Backcourt Marketing and you will get rewarded. So check them out, backcourtmarketing.com, and on Twitter at backcourtmktg. So want to thank our guests, Adam Gorney and, of course, Clancy Shields. For Shane Dale, I am Eric Cohen. Thank you, as always, for listening, and bear down.